Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now March 15th of 2024, and given that there's been a lot of things happening behind the scenes between, of course, all the divisions over at the Walt Disney Company, but one of the most failed divisions that I always like to bring up is Marvel Studios. I mean, they're right up there with Lucasfilm, and based on all the expensive failures on the horizon for 2025, they really are showing no sign of a rebound or any kind of a remedy in sight when it comes to their Marvel slate, whether it be movies or TV shows, due to Bob Iger's cost-cutting measures and his lack of leadership skills, and that's just the beginning of it all. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You could also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, one thing that I really love about Ryan Reynolds, and I've brought this up many times before, is that he is right up there with Henry Cavill. He is one actor that stands up for the fans, he stands up for the source material, and basically what's right for either the movie or a series itself. Now, we already know that there's been a lot of drama happening with Deadpool 3 behind the scenes between the reshoots for the third act that are being pushed and pressed by Disney to use that as basically a effective tool to insert DEI elements into the film, something that both Ryan, Shawn Levy, the director, writers Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese absolutely are battling Disney over for the past couple of months now. However, this is where things begin to actually get even more involved when it comes down to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman going head-to-head against those like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige. Let's discuss, shall we? Now, specifically, with, of course, Ryan Reynolds actively involved with the ongoing drama related to Deadpool 3 against the Disney heads, one major development involves much to do with the current situation, revolving around those like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige and how they recently ran into full panic mode after Reynolds made a certain decision with Hugh Jackman that is now reportedly costing Disney billions of dollars in revenue, according to Disney analysts. Now, one shocking turn of events is that Reynolds was supposed to sign up for an enormous multi-contract deal with Marvel Studios and Disney that would last numerous years, that would essentially bring him back from multiple roles with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. However, after all the drama happening with Deadpool 3 and Bob Iger's push for DEI elements to be inserted into reshoots, Reynolds recently shot down a total of 5 major MCU films that were going to involve a dynamic with Deadpool and Wolverine acting together as partners in multiple movies and/or projects. And though Ryan didn't back out of all MCU-related projects, he did, however, shoot down very important unannounced projects connected to Avengers: Secret Wars and other upcoming major MCU films that were going to be considered spin-off films and also main films apart from, of course, everything else, and all due to the connection of Marvel's Phase 7. The surprising part of this is that Reynolds actually convinced Jackman to also stand down from the MCU-related projects as a way to enhance their ultimatum against those like Bob Iger and the Disney heads, forcing DEI into Deadpool 3. The drama in this situation also got worse for Disney's situation, of course, as Disney analysts recently informed Bob Iger that those 5 MCU-related projects, most of which, of course, were films to be released, would have easily racked up billions of dollars across the board over a couple of years' time. Now, one of those projects was actually going to be a Disney Plus Marvel series that would focus on Deadpool with elements of Wolverine's return, played by Hugh Jackman. Already, Bob Iger is begging Reynolds to return to these roles, and it's creating a large shakeup already at Disney between Iger and the board as it is. Reynolds, however, along with Hugh Jackman, are refusing to return to those 5 MCU-related projects, even if Bob Iger decided to drop their push for DEI in Deadpool 3. This ultimatum of their of all of theirs, as you all know, is really something that has been going on for a very long time now, and this ultimatum of theirs is reportedly already setting things in motion that they would like to use this ultimatum to influence those like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige to stop their usage of DEI in many of the 2025 Marvel lineup of films that are already in the works. However, that is a challenge on its own. Bob Iger is already organizing an emergency meeting with the board of directors that will take place sometime next week in a desperate move to fill those slots with something else unrelated to Reynolds and Jackman's return to the MCU. Reynolds also is demanding that Jackman's deleted scenes are to be reinstated for Deadpool 3 that featured his fights in World War II and Vietnam. However, both Bob and Kevin are still refusing to bring those back since they believe it was way too violent even for a rated R movie. So guys, before I move on here, let me just say one thing about that. The fact that Bob and Kevin and others over at Disney and Marvel Studios are still refusing to this day, regardless of this ultimatum and how much of a financial hit they're taking from Hugh and Ryan backing out of multiple MCU projects, they still do not want to bring back or reinstate one of the best scenes that Hugh Jackman filmed for Deadpool 3. Now, of course, it was considered to be like a hard R rating scene because it was so violent, it was so invested in that type of violence that we've never seen this before done by the Wolverine character. That's what Ryan wanted to do, that's what Sean was setting things up for, and Disney wasn't having it. They felt it was way too violent. In fact, as we talked about this weeks ago, it was described to be even more violent than the Saving Private Ryan scene in the very beginning of the film. So, look, we already know that there's a lot of problems happening with this, because now Ryan and Hugh are rightfully standing their ground, and it's not putting Disney in a better place at all, and rightfully so. They are losing out, according to Disney analysts, billions of dollars over time combined of these 5 MCU-related projects getting completely abandoned now and written off the current slate of all of these upcoming Marvel projects. Continuing on. Now, Disney analysts have already warned those like Bob Iger about the cancellation of these projects featuring Reynolds and Jackman, that no replacement project will add up to the value of Reynolds and Jackman's projects acting as a team of characters like Deadpool and Wolverine. So, also we discussed this last week, that was basically Kevin Feige's big game plan, to really bring those two characters back multiple times as a team, as a duo, if you will. And they are setting this up in Deadpool 3, that was the plan right from the get-go, to kind of create a multi-film format for Deadpool and Wolverine as a dynamic in the Marvel Universe. Now, whether or not that would have grown tired on fans really all depends on the execution, how well it's written and directed over time. And we already know that Hugh Jackman has said this before, but he's getting a little bit too old. In fact, he has said before in the past that he's too old to portray Wolverine. I'm still shocked to this day that he was even willing to discuss and to engage in these conversations to have such a large multi-contract deal with Marvel Studios and Disney that would stretch that long, at least into 2029, at the very tail end of this decade. So anyway, there's a lot of things coming out of this when it comes to all of the Deadpool 3 drama, everything happening with Reynolds and Jackman and director Sean Levy and all these ultimatums going on to convince Disney to do the better thing, to do the right thing, and to just exclude DEI completely, not just from Deadpool 3, but from the entire Marvel slate. That's quite a big challenge that Ryan is creating, and I don't know if they'll succeed, but that is a challenge that they're willing to stand up against. So overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.